Do we have any? Nobody for public comment? If you would read over the minutes from the last facilities meeting, maybe have a motion.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the April 13th facility meeting.
All in favor? Mr. Dorminy, Peninsula MOU, whenever he's ready. Wait on the lawyer, you know how it is.
Oh, sorry. Or to me?
Yes, we're waiting on you, sir.
I wasn't even on the agenda. Sorry.
No, you're first, that's all.
Okay.
We still have Pam to go to.
I can go first if you need me to.
You want Pam to go first? Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Pam.
Sorry. What we got here.
Oh, how about that? Okay, man, here we go. So my item is the approval to move forward on the design build project for the SPLOST North Mainland Phase 1 services. There's a memo in your packet. It's a brief overview of how the solicitation process has progressed so far. We opened this up mid-April, April 12th. We had a pre-proposal meeting on the 18th of April, and we had 19 firms, and so that was combined between engineering firms, construction firms, and a few suppliers that were there as well for the project. As it turned out, though, we only received 2 proposals, one from BRW Construction Group LLC and Constantine Constructors Incorporated, and we received those on May 25th. And so obviously, when you've had that much interest at a pre-proposal meeting, the first thing you do is reach out and find out why you only got 2 proposals. And so in the memo, you'll see there's a couple of reasons. Everything from our timeline to some of the folks, in particular, a couple of the engineers, they preferred a traditional design project. They couldn't find any available contractors that could work with them on the timeline that we are trying to accomplish this project. And then also, we got some feedback with a couple of people, the coordination that's probably going to be required with this project and the pump station 4048 project. If you'll recall, 4048 kind of has to happen first before the results of this North Mainland Phase 1 can really go into effect. So that threw a couple of folks out. And then also, we had a few of the suppliers, the fact that we sole source with Xylem and Godwin Pumps, that was a no-go for them because they represent other pump manufacturers or that's preferred equipment for them. So just kind of wanted to talk about that, why we only ended up with 2.
Yes.
So, do you have a question, Mr. Junkin?
Just my recollection of the conceptual of what we anticipated was that 4048, I anticipated the design build would allow us some temporary capacity through a jockey pump at 4005 potentially that would allow us to go ahead and bridge the gap between completion of the bulk of the project and the 4048. If that's, I don't know what you guys have seen on paper though, since that was way back.
Right.
Sorry.
And that could have been more to some of the people that came to the pre-bid that are involved in 4048, and so there was a conflict with what they had going on with 4048 and what they had committed there too. So this is just general feedback that we got from engineers and contractors. So after that, we received the 2 proposals. We had a 3-member selection committee. So we had 2 engineering representatives, 1 operations representative on that team. We did the scoring sheet. You'll see that evaluation matrix is the second attachment in your packet. And so those are the individual scores on the various criteria. Initially, we were going to do a standardized score because we were anticipating getting a lot more responses than we did. But really, when you have 2, it just comes down to the basic numbers there. And as you can see, Constantine Constructors, they came out with the highest scores. And then the bullet points, we just kind of have some general comments and some scoring differences that we noticed from the selection committee. Both of the team members and the staff that they were planning to take on the project, those resumes and those experience levels seemed pretty much in line, and those scores, they're really, you'll notice in that top section, there's not huge variances in those scores. They both seem to have adequate staff. And then on the Constantine side, when we were actually looking at the specific project references that they gave us, they had more design build experience, and particularly in the water and sewer field. So they did get some higher marks on that regard. And then also, even within our evaluators, there were some distinct differences on the scoring with the best value alternatives under the technical approach section, you'll see that. And then also on the cycle cost savings under the innovation category. The perceptions of what our team was seeing there in the way of benefit kind of varied. Overall, the feedback and responses we got is that the Constantine approach seemed more detailed. They had more of the actual steps we would take instead of the areas we needed to look into identified. So they had more answers than they did, these are areas we should look for answers, than the other proposal. And then one thing that did come across, we had changed some of the gallons per minute targets that we were looking for from the original document that we had released, and it appeared on one of the proposals, those new targets, those numbers weren't taken into account in the BRW proposal, so that kind of threw us off as well. So obviously there'll be some scoring differences there in the technical approach because they kind of missed the mark. And then one of the things, and I think if you'll look in one of those scores, the impact on the existing operations, obviously through part of this project, that's something that we want to minimize. And then also some enhancements. So on the Constantine, they gave us, both people gave us the recommendation that we probably need to replace the force main. But in addition to that, Constantine gave us the approach that maybe we could work with just jockey pumps to go ahead and get those GPMs for right now while we work on the force main. So they gave us maybe two options instead of just one in this initial phase of conceptual design. So I think that's when you look at those scores and the feedback that we received from the team, that was kind of why that firm was scored higher than the other. So we checked all the project references, and obviously, nobody's going to give you a bad project reference. So everything checked out fine on the projects that from both firms. And I don't think that it's so much that it just was one of the plans was more comprehensive than the other. And I think that's the scoring that you see reflected there. So where we're at in this point is we've kind of picked a technical winner. And so from there, what we'll do is the 30% they'll give us, we're going to do a fee with a guaranteed maximum price. So what we'll work on now is, we've got 30% design. We'll pick this person, we'll move forward with them, and then we'll develop that final guaranteed maximum price cost proposal. And at 70%, we'll have that number, and then that'll be blessed for this is, the project cost, and that'll come back before you for approval of the full commission. So the plan is, if with your blessing and referral, we'll take this on Thursday to move forward with Constantine to develop that model.
Have you worked with Constantine before?
I have not, no, sir.
Where's they out of?
They are based out of St. Augustine.
Now, when you check their project references, assuming they'd all give you satisfactory, because who's going to put that on the resume? Did you
Right.
ask for a list of all projects and check with the people that they?
No, we just asked for a specific number of references when we checked those. So they've done work for Warner Robins, which is in Middle Georgia, up around the Macon area. One of the project references they gave us was St. Johns County, and that's someone that we've had a working relationship with here recently. We've worked with them a little bit on the City Works implementation, so we feel like we've got some good positive feedback there as well. But no, we didn't ask for every project you've ever done. No, we just asked for some specific design build, water, wastewater type projects.
So this recommendation, this is for phase one for 30% of the whole contract or 30% of the design build?
30% of the design build. And so basically they've given us a cost proposal for what that'll be. And well, now that we've selected our technical proposal, we'll open that up, and as long as that fee looks good in there, and we're thinking this number is gonna be somewhere under $100,000 for that, we're prepared based on what we estimated to be, good to go with that. And then what we will do is we'll work with them for further design and developing that cost proposal and a maximum guaranteed price for a 70% design. And then that full number will be brought back here for approval.
So right this second, I don't know what the dollar value that we're
Of the whole
recommending.
project is. No, we have our kind of estimates that we think this project is, and we think,
But I'm not sure, maybe Commissioner Ford's talking about what is the amount we're committing to for this first bite at the apple, the 30%, is that? am I
Critical,
correct?
yes.
Right,
There's
right.
no dollar value in here. What
Right.
are we trying to spend?
right, so I think it's gonna be less than 100,000 for the design part to get to the 70% to negotiate a price. And then if for some reason we can't come to terms with that, the way the contract's written, we will pay them the fee for the one that they've already given us. And then there's, I think it's $25,000 is the amount that we would have the design that we could take and do whatever we wanted to with. That's what we built into the contract. So it's a fee.
So you're losing me now. So we have no idea what they're gonna charge us as far as this design one.
I have that information, and so the way the process was to work was we were expecting to have several proposals, like somewhere between 5 and 10, and we only ended up with 2. So I have 2 numbers in my office in an envelope that I'll open up after we say we want to move forward with one of the other of these 2 people. We believe that number is going to be less than $100,000, which is our budget for this phase of the project, and as long as that number is within some reasonable number of that, we're going to move forward negotiating with that person for the overall project and a guaranteed maximum price. And I'm probably confusing you, so sorry.
No, I'm just not very comfortable with kind of trying to push something that I have no idea what the cost of. It's because it's hidden in an envelope.
Perhaps we could select the team contingent upon pricing. If you guys would allow us based on the recommendation here, the selection of the team to do the work, we can open the envelopes and come again to the commission meeting on Thursday with an outcome from that. And if we can resolve the costs, you can have an absolute note there.
I can look at that.
But that number's not going to be what the whole project is going to
That's
cost
the
us.
30%.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that on Thursday, that's not the number we'll be coming with.
This is just going to be 30% of the design bill.
And we believe, based on what we think, it won't be any more than 100,000, and most likely it'll be something less.
So it's 30 grand.
No, I'm
I
saying.
mean, I know, but that's what, the 30%, you're saying it's $100,000
30% design,
design.
Right.
not
But the 100,000 is
30%
the
of the total
30%.
project.
Okay.
So that's kind of their fee
Okay.
to get us where we need to be in the negotiation to understand what the full project cost is. And remember, part of the reason we're going design build is the essence of time, trying to combine engineering and construction so that we can get to an end result of more gallons per minute quicker.
Got it.
I got it to a point, I'm okay with what you want to do. I'm
Okay,
just having a
good.
tough time with, why are we still at a sealed envelope?
Well, and I think because originally we thought we were going to have a lot more responses, and so that's kind of the way we said we were going to do this. And with only 2, those numbers could be a whole lot closer. With 5, there's more chance of, there's only a few $1,000s difference between 1 and 2. Here, it's kind of a yes/no when you're down to just 2 people, unless those numbers are way out of the, apart from one another. Sorry, I don't think I'm doing a great job explaining this. Ask all the questions you want, because I want you to feel comfortable with it.
No, I'm kind of okay. I guess my question would be is if we kind of gave you guys permission to proceed with the design build to begin with, why couldn't you have a so-called bid opening and then you bring the bid results back to the board for the approval?
Could you do that by Thursday?
Yeah, I have the numbers, and I can tell you that.
That's what she's asking.
Yeah. And like I said, based on what we kind of think it'll be, I can't imagine the number we're gonna bring back to you on Thursday is gonna be any more than $100,000.
Well, as long as we don't have to approve any dollar value now to be brought before them, I'm okay with that.
So what'll happen is at this point, you know, if for some reason, once we get down to the negotiating, you know, for the overall project, and we think this, I'm just using these as round numbers, that this is a $10 million project, and for some reason what they're designing is a $20 million project, we all know that's not our budget. So we're gonna have to back off and do something else, I guess is kind of.
Let me make a quick point on this as well. Probably my directing Pam to bring it in here for approval when I knew they had their analysis done was premature. I probably should have said, let's wait, you know, take the one we've got, open up the envelopes, work through it, make sure they're not gonna try to gouge us on engineering charges. And if everything looks square, then we bring it back. That was my call. I should have.
I'll have a number on Thursday. Actually, I can have it tomorrow. We're gonna talk about this again at finance tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have a number. Okay.
Oh, so the finance group gets the number.
No, I'm saying, no, now that you told me to open the envelope, I will open the envelope.
But you know, all commissioners are invited to all committee meetings.
That's right. You have to wait till Thursday night. But in all seriousness, that's really what we're asking is, we truly did think we were gonna have more respondents than we did, and we only had 2. It's pretty obvious in the scoring that one came out pretty significantly higher than the other. And so we just kind of want your blessing to move forward with that, understand what those costs are, and start working on negotiating that contract. Charlie said he had a lot of fun last week looking at that contract with me. We want to make sure this one's nice and buttoned up, how we track the costs, so.
Well, if that's what you need, I'll make a motion that we recommend with the initial review of this and present it to the full board.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you very much.
I got one quick
Oh,
question.
sure, go ahead.
On the last page where it says acceptance of agreement terms, your evaluator number 2, he has a 0, where the other 2 have 5. Is there something in there?
So one of the things that they did in there is they actually had a 1 and a tentative 2. So in their package that they submitted to us, they gave us 2 envelopes. So they gave us phase 1, which is all we asked for, but they also gave us a phase 2. And we don't have any intention of opening that phase 2. So one of our evaluators took that to mean you didn't follow the rules and gave them a 0. So that's what that is. So maybe it was even confusing for the folks bidding on this.
He was in pretty much, he or she was in pretty much in line with everything. Actually, we're the highest out of all of them if you look at it, but they gave a 0 there.
Yeah, but that's it, yeah.
That's the reason.
Somebody else asked me that, they thought maybe that was a typo, but it's not.
So
That was
we have a motion
why.
and a second, all in favor?
So we'll have a number on Thursday for everybody to look at. Thank you.
All right, Mr.
My turn.
Yes, sir.
All right, good afternoon. What I brought before you today is a memorandum of understanding regarding water and sewer rights and responsibilities for 2 developments known as Peninsula at Golden Isles and Longwood Preserve. A couple of months ago, the developer came to us asking us to accept an easement for roads that the county was planning on abandoning out in this development. After the JWSC looked into it a little bit further, we didn't have any record of taking ownership of that infrastructure that's located in the developments. Therefore, there was a disagreement between the parties as to the current rights and responsibilities that the water and sewer infrastructure was contained out there on the property. After a few meetings, we've gone round and round with this. We've come up with a solution that we believe is in everyone's best interest. That solution is memorialized here in this memorandum of understanding. Essentially, what will happen, and I'm just going to read the bullet points, and these are still being revised. Just got another copy out about 30 minutes ago with some revisions that will be incorporated here. But Glynn County will abandon the roads located within the property, and JWSC will encourage and support that abandonment. JWSC will then accept utility easements pursuant to their normal dedication easement form for 80-foot right-of-way over the roads. The existing water mains serving all the lots in phase one, which is the peninsula development, and for the existing low-pressure sewer lines serving a portion of the property identified by 27 lots, numbers 53 through 79 on the plat that I gave you a copy of. JWSC will also accept or acknowledge the easement, the current easement between two lots, lots 63 and 64, as listed on Exhibit A, and that will bring the utility easement out to the Buck Swamp Road. Thereafter, JWSC will accept responsibility for the service and maintenance of a portion of the water and sewer infrastructure that services certain lots identified on Exhibit A. JWSC will also issue a variance if they haven't already done that.
Only on the first page, we need one on the second page.
Okay, all right. JWSC will issue variances permitting the installation of on-site septic systems with drain fields in phases 1 and 2. Any other variances will be the responsibility of the developer. The developer will then obtain an amendment to the property's plan development text to allow the installation of on-site septic systems with drain fields for all lots within the property. Thereafter, only 10 lots and the amenity center will be permitted but not required to access the existing or future low-pressure sewer force main. The installation of new private step systems will not be permitted in phases 1 or 2, except for those 10 lots as described above. All lots within phases 1 and 2, excluding those 10 lots and the amenity center, shall be required to utilize private septic systems with drain fields for wastewater disposal. Parties acknowledge and agree that private step systems, sewer system assets are permitted only within those 10 lots and the amenity center. Cost for maintaining any private step system located on those 10 lots and the amenity center, if it is even appropriate, will be determined by the then current JWSC rate resolution. And that is essentially it. There's no reservation of capacity or anything like that, so I disagree.
What are the limits of the low-pressure sewer line? Is that like to the homeowner's property and then to our stuff?
I'm sorry, can you tell, what was,
The limits and responsibility for the step systems.
well,
What's the,
they're not taking on any responsibilities for the step system.
No, I mean the low-pressure sewer line, as it goes to the homeowner's property, where does our boundaries stop?
We stop at the connection point for their lateral, where their line comes to our common piece that everybody shares. That's where the separation. I brought the drawing, if anybody wanted to look at the actual layout.
We need to make a motion on this, take it to the board.
yes.
I make a motion that we take this homeowner's agreement, MOU, to the full board on Thursday.
Second.
All in agreement? Carried. With changes if necessary. Want to, any discussion, anything? Director?
No additional updates at this time. I'll be happy to see us get this done. We're really focused in on the town hall meetings for tomorrow and Monday. So right now, we're kind of dialed into that.
And that is tomorrow night at 6.
Tomorrow night at 6 at the St. Williams on St. Simon Island.
All commissioners are invited.
All commissioners are invited again.
That's it. Any other business? Adjourned.
I think
Thank you.